Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Hello. Hi, Tina. It's good to see you, my friend. Hi, Mac Cordera. Hi, Majama. Melissa, love wins always. It's been a long time. Hi, Tabby. Hi, Tenzin. Hi, Kayla. Hi, Yoga Joe Guy. Hi, Lisa. Good to be with you guys today. Lots of love for everyone. Lots of love. Hi, Mount Shasta 5. I've been feeling called to get up to Mount Shasta. Hi from Mexico. Wow. Hi, Turkey. Hello, Europe. I am, there's so much I want to share. One of the reasons I'm jumping on right now is I just got out of my Align class. I don't teach, it's not a teaching, but I do a 21-day intensive where we sit with ourselves for 21 days, 20 minutes a day. Basically, we just sit quietly, go inward. Hi, Sweden. And hi, Iraq. And when I began talking to the class this morning, I just started crying in front of the class. Hundreds of people. Here's Lori just crying. Yeah, you can still join. And I just allowed the tears to flow. And what I shared about was, hi Israel, what I shared about was how there's a lot, obviously, you don't need me to tell you this, there's a lot going on the planet right now. And there is a lot of emotion that is being experienced. Whether you are paying attention to what's happening in the world, or your own inner world, your just what's happening in your own little space of your life and your family and your friends, okay? Either way, there is a lot of emotion that is moving through the body that you may or may not be aware of. And the intensity of what we're in right now cannot be seen necessarily, although we can physically see it in the Middle East right now. It's a reflection of our own inner worlds. It's a reflection of what we are staying disconnected from. And you know, there's this interesting thing that happens in the human experience where if there is an intensity of emotion, I'm trying to figure out how to say the best way to say this. If there's an intensity of emotion going through your body that you're not aware of, okay, which a lot of us have, then there is a reaction or a response to people, to experiences, to stories, to agendas that we are not conscious of. So we're coming from this fight or flight response. We're coming from a state of survival. We're coming from a knee-jerk reaction of unconsciousness. And what's being asked of humanity right now, the human collective, because all of this is an evolution in human consciousness, regardless of what story you want to put a frame around what's happening on the planet, it's all from the bigger perspective and evolution in human consciousness, which is energy shifting, which means that, quite simply, changing the way that we are being. That's what's happening. We are learning how to be in new ways. And one of the layers of that awareness is that we have to see how we have been. We have to humbly and emotionally and courageously, literally see how we have been lied to or manipulated, coerced, mind controlled, how we have been taught what to feel, what not to feel, how we have programmed to immediately allow fear to wipe away our human nature and how we are naturally designed to be, which is compassion and empathy and love, and wrapping our arms around humans, not fighting against humans. That's not our natural state. That's not evolution. Right? The recognition on this planet of the mass amount of distortion in order to control an entire population. That is one level and one layer of this evolution, of this awakening. We saw it 3 years ago. We will continue to see it. Stories may change, but the underlying agenda of controlling an entire population is still what's at play. And the way in which we are manipulated is through the fear. Fear of our lives. Fear that somebody's going to come and take our lives. Fear of our emotional states. Fear of what we are feeling. It's all based on fear. So there is this overwhelming rattling of a planet right now once again. And this is, a pretty intense story, reality that's playing out, whether you're conscious of it or not, about what's happening in Israel and Palestine and all over the Middle East, all over the planet. It's not just there, it's the whole planet. Sorry to say this, but the United States is probably 10 times worse than any country in terms of the atrocities that we do. It's not easy looking at how we have lived on this planet. It's not. If it doesn't break your heart, then you want to ask yourself if you're actually in your body recognizing what's happening on the planet. And at the same time, you also want to be super, super gentle with yourself. You want to have compassion for what you're capable of feeling right now and what is too much. It's not easy watching an entire human collective recognize the ways in which they have been. That somehow, there can be atrocities in the world that we weren't aware of, right? And the jaw-dropping, holy shit, what the fuck, awareness of that. It's humbling. It's really, really humbling. And so I'm jumping on because I just want to remind all of us that this is a game of changing the way we are being, changing how we react or respond to situations, continuing to recognize that there's only so much that the body can process in terms of emotions and taking care of yourself. From the awareness that I hold of, and many of you guys understand this, that this is a very large, massive evolution in human consciousness. With that humble awareness, right, which means that an entire human collective is shifting out of ways in which they used to be and shifting into new ways of being. That is what's happening, right? When you recognize that and you see what's happening on the planet, where I go is not who's right and who's wrong, but what has been hidden from me, what has been, where was I manipulated, where was I lied to. And usually the agendas they tell you, you want to flip, whether you want to believe that or not. Usually whatever the agenda is, you want to flip it. It's typically the opposite. And how has humanity unconsciously responded in the past? And how is humanity being asked to respond in new ways? I think that is the deeper question that we need to look at. I mean, there's so many things that we need to look at. So many ways that you can look at what's happening. But the practice today in my class was compassion. I want you to imagine, this isn't, just go with me on this, okay? Imagine if you're spirit. Imagine if you were the spirit that you actually are right now. And how spirit would look out into what's unraveling on the planet or what's unraveling in your own life. I'm actually talking about what's happening in the Middle East, but it could be what's happening in your world. Okay? If you looked at it through the lens of spirit, of this higher consciousness, your heart would you would feel for what's arising. You would know that humanity does not deserve to be treated in specific ways. Whatever location on the planet, this country or that state, it doesn't matter. You take away the labels, you take away the words, you take away the names, you take all of that away, and it's just human to human. It's just human here and human here and human here and human here. When you start looking at through the eyes of spirit, which is who you are, and you are here to embody spirit, which is you. You're here to see all the atrocities in the world and the genocides and the horrific things that are happening, that humans are doing or non-humans are doing. And you look at it through the eyes of spirit. That does not mean that you are not going to break wide open, that your heart's not going to break, that you're not going to get angry or rageful or sad or whatever it is. That's the natural response of the human body. The human body is going to feel energies, i.e. emotions. It's impossible. That is part of the human experience. That has nothing to do with spirit. It has nothing to do with evolution. Right? We will continue to evolve, which means that we will continue to be given opportunities to be in new ways. That's evolution. What you feel is what your body's going to feel as it stands on a planetary body that is moving through an evolution. But when you start to recognize that this is about you embodying your physical body and looking at things through the eyes of spirit, one, question everything. Are you questioning every piece of information you're getting? Spirit is going to look at the whole picture. Spirit is going to recognize what is being inundated to it. what it's being told to think, what it's being told to feel. Spirit's going to see all of this, not through the eyes of judgment. Spirit's going to see it through the eyes of just seeing it, looking at it, being aware of it, questioning it, saying, holy shit, holy cow. This deep humility. Spirit stands back and says, what in the actual fuck am I in? Right? Spirit is going to feel and allow itself to feel all of it. All of it. Spirit's going to question every single mother freaking narrative because Spirit just is in awe of what it's in. Spirit's going to realize that it makes no sense to harm others. Makes no sense to harm others. Spirit's going to realize that trying to fix a problem by reacting in the same consciousness as the problem doesn't fix the problem. Spirit knows that. Spirit knows that it has to open its heart even more to the ones that are doing the horrific acts. In order to free humanity, it has to do it differently. We have to do things completely differently. When you really stop, okay, and you stop playing in the ruckus and the racketing of what we are told to believe, what we are told to think, what we are told to feel. The moment we open our eyes as a newborn, we're told what to think and what to feel and what to believe. We're told how to be. We're programmed. You want to start questioning that right now. You want to start questioning it. You want to start looking at how you are responding. How are we responding to the world? How are we responding to ourselves? I don't know what fixes the problem. I know that all I know is that what is being asked of us as a human collective is to do it differently. Which means that we have to be humble enough to see everything. We have to be humble enough to open our eyes and say, maybe I was manipulated. We have to be humble enough to say, why am I believing this? We have to be humble enough to say, maybe the people that I think have my best interests don't. We have to be humble enough to say, wow, my knee-jerk reaction that says go after them and get them might not be the best reaction or response. This change happens by each individual choosing how they want to react and respond to a situation. How they want to be in it. It's one person at a time. And it's having the courage to not react and respond from fear. It's having the courage to say, wait a second. Wait a second. Does this even make sense? Humanity is awake. We are waking up out of massive, massive mind control. Massive mind control. It's next level. Next level mind control. And we don't do it through anger and rage. We do it through compassion. We do it through love. We do it through empathy. That is the hardest piece for us to recognize and to embody. Is to be able to start to see what is happening on the planet through the eyes of compassion, empathy, and love. And that takes tiny, tiny, tiny baby steps. Tiny baby steps and a deep amount of humility. Do you have any advice on how to find balance when your loved ones were harmed? You know, I was talking to a friend about this morning. You know, when we have firsthand experience of somebody in our lives being in danger or being killed or being hurt, right? The response is always going to be, a majority of us will respond back with, based on fear, anger, and fighting back or getting back at them or whatever that is. And so first, we want to just be aware of that. We want to just be curious of how the human reacts. We want to be curious how the human responds. We want to be curious of the human. Imagine you're an alien and you are literally dropped down into a human body and you're looking around at how humans be. We have to start doing that. We have to really, truly begin to dissect being human. Of course, if someone, I said the same thing this morning. I was like, if somebody knocks on my door and comes in and tries to take my children, right? Of course you're going to want to fight back. It's human nature. It's in your nature. It's like, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. All I'm saying is we've got to get very curious about why this type of behavior is continuing to be perpetuated through agendas and stories. I'm not saying that's not a natural response at all. I'm saying, can we get curious as to why this is continuing to play out? Who's playing this out? Who's playing it out? What's really going on in the bigger picture? And how do they, the powers that be, the very small group of people that are controlling the entire planet, how do they want you and I to be? They want us to be in fear. That does not mean that you would not respond from an aggressive state if somebody came in and was doing whatever they're doing. What I'm saying is we have got to start to look at it from many different layers. Not just the unconscious, blind, mind-controlled layer where you're just believing and falling prey to whatever it is that they tell us. We have to start questioning everything 10 times over. We have to start to allow ourselves to break and to feel that heartbreak. We have to start to allow ourselves to, we've got to question. We've got to, it's a humbling experience to recognize that when you threaten someone's life, or you take away a human's rights and you do these horrific things to them, very few of them are going to just sit back and chill out. I don't know what I'm saying. All I know is that this is another moment in the process of in a powerful moment on the planet where we are being gifted once again to wake up into a little bit of a higher state of consciousness. And I don't have the answers. I just know that we have to start looking at this through a different lens. We've got to start looking at it through a different lens. We've got to start recognizing that if this truly is an evolution in human consciousness, which it is, then it means we have to be in new ways. And we have to realize, whether you believe this or not, there is There is a force on the planet right now that's controlling 7.5 billion humans. And they control us through our mind, and they control us through fear. And they try to continue to perpetuate the same lower states of consciousness so that we stay stuck in those lower states of consciousness. And we can argue for those lower states of consciousness, fighting back, having fear, resistance, whatever that is. It still doesn't take away from the fact that this is an evolution in human consciousness where we have to see every single way in which we are being and do our best courageously, empathically, and compassionately to do things differently. If your knee-jerk reaction is to say we need to go and kill the people, we need to question that. If your knee-jerk reaction is just to believe everything that you're being told by people, you have to question that. If you just are believing certain things and you're not even wondering why you're believing it, we have to question that. We have to come together and hand in hand, heart in heart, regardless of our beliefs and regardless of whether we believe the same things or not. We are a human collective. We are all on this planet together, all on the same battlefield, trying to figure out what the fuck we're in and how deeply we have been controlled. We're all looking around saying, what in the fuck? But if we are fighting against each other, then this mass control that is over the entire planet will continue. It will perpetuate. We have to come together and say, holy shit, what were you believing? Oh my God, what were you believing? Oh my God, how did you react and respond? Oh my God, how did you react and respond? How angry did you get? How rageful are you feeling? It's next level what's being asked of us. We just can't do it the same way. We just can't. So if there's anything that I would say right now, it's allow yourself to feel even more, question every single freaking thing, recognize that there is a manipulation and a mind control that is on the planet that is next level, and open your hearts even more. Open your hearts, 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 open your freaking hearts. It's possible that there has been a mass lie being told to us. It's possible that there is a mass genocide that's happening. It's possible that there has been such a play behind the scenes that we haven't been aware of. It's possible. Is it not possible? Of course it is. How many of us 3.5 years ago could never conceptualize that the government's going to lie to you in order to make money? Right? It's possible. Anything's possible on this planet, in this evolution. We have to open our hearts. We have to recognize we have to each individually say and humbly, courageously say, is it possible that I could be differently right now? Is it possible that I could react a tad bit differently? Why am I responding in this way? Why am I reacting this way? And this is not just about what's happening in the Middle East. This could be what's happening and it is about what's happening even in your regular world. Of course it makes you sound crazy. It's insane. It's insane when you start to look at the stories in which they tell us that they want us to believe. When you really start to look at them and peel it back, it's crazy. It's just nuts. And this is about our own. This is about our. Everything that I'm saying right now is about your inner world as well. Where in your inner world do you not have compassion for yourself? Where in your inner world are you beating yourself up? Where in your inner world are you lying to yourself, right? Where in your inner world are you creating this is okay and this isn't okay? Where in your immediate world with your friends and family, are you being in this way? This is not just about what's happening somewhere else. This is about what's happening with you. This is a delicate unfolding, right? But if nothing else, it's the evolution in human consciousness that requires us to stand in it and to have compassion and empathy, to recognize that we are all being lied to all the time. That just is. I mean, if we haven't seen that in the past 3 years, where have you been? Why would it stop? We were lied to for a very long time. Why would it stop now? And this isn't a negative way of viewing the world. This is freeing ourselves. And this is coming back into being human. Being a human. Being spirit. Embodied. And pay attention to labels. Pay attention to what happens when someone says a specific name. Is there a judgment that comes? Is there a story that comes? Deep mind control. What deep mind control will do is that you will hear a word, a phrase, anything, and you will immediately have a story that goes along with it. And you won't even necessarily know that you have a knee-jerk reaction story that goes along with a word or a label, like a country or a group of people or an emotion or whatever it is. If I say anger, you will immediately, unconsciously, have thoughts about anger. If I say United States, you're going to have stories. If I say unworthiness, unconsciously, without you even choosing, you're going to have a judgment about what I just said, the word I just said. That's mind control. Somebody, somewhere along the way has told you what to think and what to believe. And the evolution in human consciousness is stepping out of that. It's recognizing that there are things called labels that create judgments, that create stories. And we have to question all of it. And we absolutely have to look at who's running the show. We have to be courageous enough to say, our governments lie to us all the time, all day long. We have to have the courage to say that. We have to. We have to have the courage to look at the dark. We have to have the courage to look at the evil. We have to. And not go against each other. We have to see beyond the curtain. We have to see beyond the curtain. So be gentle with yourselves. Be gentle with what your body may be going through. Laugh. Go in nature. Remember the bigger picture. Feel. See. Question. This is another beautiful opportunity. It's another beautiful opportunity for humanity to step up. It is. There are moments in my life. I've been awake to a lot of stuff since I was very young. And there are moments in my life, I have these aha moments where I was blindsided, so to speak. Where I recognized, holy shit, I was bamboozled. Right? And I feel that way about what's happening in the Middle East. I feel like I've been bamboozled. Like, holy shit. Right? And it's jarring when I have those moments, because I know that it is a significant moment for humanity. When we can recognize that once again, perhaps there is something else unraveling that we didn't see or couldn't see or aren't seeing. I don't have words to how we can navigate it other than just being in awe. Continuing to ask ourselves, how is this inviting me to be in new ways? What is this showing me about myself? Asking me to be in a different way on the planet with humanity. So we can continue to experience and react and respond however feels best. Go and do you. Go and be you. Go and express. Go and share. Go and love. Go and do you, right? But every single moment is gifting you, gifting me, gifting this planet an opportunity to be in completely new ways. And if we are not seeing that as well, we're missing the entire freaking point of being on the planet right now and incarnating. Why do you think you incarnated at this time? You incarnated to be able to walk humanity through this. Which means that you have to be humble enough to say to yourself, fuck, I was bamboozled. We can't stay in righteousness. We have to be humble enough to say, fuck, holy shit. What the fuck's actually happening here? What's actually happening? And this will happen on the planet for many years to come. The bamboozling that I feel and that you may or may not feel, I don't know. But I have no, I truly believe that I will continue to be bamboozled because of how intense this mind control is on the planet. The only way through this is in the body, feeling, opening your heart, having compassion, seeing the bigger picture and asking yourself, how is this asking me to be in new ways in my own world, in my inner world, and in the outer world? And ask 17,762 more questions than you are asking. And if you're not asking questions, start asking questions. Start getting even more curious. And this isn't just in the external world. This is in your inner world. Are you questioning your thoughts? Do you question your thoughts? Or do you just believe your thoughts? Do you question what you think? Do you say to yourself when a thought comes in, is this true? Is this truly true? Is this really true? Remember, the external world is a reflection of the internal world. If we're being bamboozled by our own thoughts, we will be bamboozled by the external thoughts. If we're shutting ourselves off to our own compassion and love, we will shut off compassion and love for the rest of the world. If we are judging ourselves, we will judge others. If there is divide within our own self, there will be divide in others. If we are harming ourselves in any way, we will harm others. We'll think it's okay. If there is anger and rage inside of ourselves for the things that we've experienced, that's not really our fault, we will have anger and rage for the external world. Everything is a reflection. That doesn't mean that what is happening on the planet is okay. Not at all. That doesn't mean that we don't stand up for a group of people that are going through a mass genocide. And I'm pretty sure they're not the only ones. This is the evolution in human consciousness. Strap on your seatbelt, keep your heart open, and love the fuck out of people. Love the shit out of everyone if you can. Love them. Love. The moment you want to get angry and fight and berate and argue, where can you grab a tiny bit of love? Tiny bit of love. Can you hold compassion for where this person may or may not be coming from? You know? Try it. Try compassion and love over, the knee-jerk reaction of getting even, angry, I'm right. Righteousness needs to go out the fucking window. Let go of righteousness, which means I'm right, you're wrong. And replace righteousness with compassion and questions. That's, again, not just in the external world, but in your internal world. All right, you guys, I love you. I love the fuck out of you. I don't give a shit. People say, why are you cussing all the time? Waters down your messages. I don't give a shit. I don't care. The rest of the year and next year, we've got to be ready to feel. We've got to be ready to question. We've got to be humble enough to say, holy fuck, I'm continuing to be lied to. Please be humble enough to say, wow, I may not know. Please be humble enough to say, wow, there may be a bigger narrative that I don't see. Please be humble enough to say that, maybe there are ways in which we are being asked to be in new ways, and I don't know how to be that. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to feel. Be humble enough to be in that. Be humble enough to recognize that we're all in this together. We're all in this together. This is an entire human collective that is evolving, not specific humans evolving. This is an entire human collective standing on one planetary globe or planetary body that is remembering who they are. And the only way that we can remember who we are is we have to see the atrocities in which we have been told to live in, to be in. War has been on this planet for millions of years. War has been a consciousness that has been brainwashed into a human collective as if it is okay and makes sense. And the human nature, our human nature is not to be in a war, in fight. It's just a deep program that we're slowly learning how to step out of. Okay, I gotta go. I don't know if people are gonna understand it or not. Some people will, some people won't. But how is this asking you to be in new ways? I love you. Mwah.